Hey everyone, it's Greg, and it's another edition of Unbreakable Spirits. Today we're going to talk about coping with pain. And first of all, I have the song on in the background, King of Pain, by the Police. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm the King of Pain. Who wants to be the King of Pain, right? But, um, I've had my share. I've had my share. I mean, for those of you who know me, I have osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bones, and I've had it probably all my life, but it only manifested itself when I was 2.5 years old. So we break that down. Uh, I've had, oh, well, I've been breaking bones since about 62 years now, give or take a bit. Um, so people, suffer every day from pain. I'm just going to talk a little bit about, through my experience, ways to cope with pain, different techniques, different things that I've tried and used over the years that may help you. I mean, you may be doing the same things that I'm doing now, but it might be something that we talk about during this podcast that you'll say, maybe I'll try that too, right? If it benefits you, try it, right? Of course, you always have to check your doctor about doing stuff, okay? But these aren't any real big thing. It's just common sense kind of things that I've used over the years. So, um, but we're talking about pain and pain, you know, all kinds of pain, right? I mean, think about it. 25 million people in the United States alone suffer from chronic pain. Now, what's chronic pain? Chronic pain is a pain that exists for over 3 years. Okay, that's what they define as chronic pain. But that's not even talking about the pain that people have every day. Now, you sprain your ankle, you have a toothache, you have a migraine, uh, get up in the morning and your back hurts, your shoulder, did something to your shoulder, right? Everybody has some sort of pain that challenges their quality of life, right? And that's the key thing that we're talking about here, quality of life. There's some pain you could do something about, and some pain you can't do. Uh, but you want to have best quality of life possible. And that's the way I've looked at it now that I'm a little older, uh, and I've gone through the years of fracture uh, and I don't even know how many bones I've broken in my lifetime. And neither do my doctors, because when they started keeping my records, it was in the late 50s or 60s, and Children's Hospital in Philadelphia, where I used to go. Uh, this was before computers, and everything has been. If it wasn't put in a computer like in the 70s or 80s, when computers started uh, coming to the mainstream, then it was lost. I don't know. I look at it this way: if I broke maybe 4 or 5 bones a month, uh, or let's say a year, that's more realistic. Maybe a bone every 3 months. Because I would be in a cast, get out of the cast, break again. This went on for a long time, at least 10 years. So maybe 4 bones, 5 bones a year, 62 years. I was never good at that. That's why I became a social worker. Anyway, um, about 200 bones, give or take, mostly my legs, my arms. Now I have things like stress fractures, fun stuff. And so I don't have full-blown fractures anymore, or stress fracture kind of things, which are annoying because some parts of your body, that ribs, back, you can't put cast on. You have to work. That's what we're going to talk right now. Now I have a bunch of notes here. I'm just going to grab a couple at a time, and we're just going to talk. Okay. One of the things that I do now is I have a pain management doctor. Now, back in the day when I was growing up, they didn't have pain management doctors. My surgeon was my doctor, who I went to, and family doctor too. Basically, two doctors. Now, I have at least 6 or 7 doctors, at least. But one of the physicians is a pain management doctor, and a very nice guy. I would recommend, if you don't have a pain management doctor and you're in chronic pain, you should check with your family physician. And the reason I say that is because my pain management doctor has been a big help. He specializes in pain. He has studied pain. And so not only does he know the painkillers out there, things for arthritis, that sort of thing, anti-inflammatory drugs, what interacts with what doesn't interact with what. But he knows other techniques, and he could refer you to support groups if you want to get into meditation, which we're going to talk about, to help ease your pain. The pain doctor can help you do all that. I mean, mostly what I like my pain doctor about is work, and I see him maybe 2 times a year or as needed. That as we speak right now, I'm in pain, and it's something unusual. It's something different. I normally have the arthritic kind of pain. My bones are old, and they're wear and tear over the years of being broken so many times. And I have a lot of arthritis. So, I'm, on a scale of 1 to 10, and at the pain scale, I think it's great because, again, that's something they didn't have when I was a kid either. They just sort of guessed at your pain. You told them, okay. Pain is, you can't see pain, but you can see the symptoms of pain, which we'll talk about in a minute too, like rapid breathing, shallow breathing, swelling, grimacing, you help. So they didn't have the pain scale back when I was a kid, but so we guessed that, And as far as painkillers are concerned, when I was a kid, back in 1955, Tylenol was coming, and so I was right on the edge of that. And I remember most often they would prescribe me Tylenol, elixir. I could never swallow pills. I still can't. How's that? I'm like a big baby, right? Like that. Maybe a lot of you can. Don't worry about it. If you can't crush them up, you do it somehow. Capsules or liquid. When I was a kid, I Tylenol elixir, right? Use that. And so you may do, with whatever works, right, to help ease the pain. Anyway, before I move on about pain management doctors, if you don't have one, think about it. They're to me a great benefit over the years, and I'm kind of new to party of pain management doctors, you know. I only had a pain management doctor for maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years, maybe. Um, but it's great benefit. So think about it. A pain management doctor is just somebody you can talk to too when you go to your regular checkup. Someone who understands. You want to have someone who understands. Worst thing in the world, when I was a social worker in nursing homes and hospitals, somebody told me they were pain. I'm the worst thing in the world is to tell somebody you were in pain management. They think you're putting on the pain or you're exaggerating, you know? Trust me, guys, if you guys are in pain out there, I believe you. I see you. Because you can't tell. Again, you can't see pain, but you can see the symptoms of pain. But when I was a social worker, I always believed them. When they told me they were in pain, because I can move. I can move. I got to tell you, though, before I leave the topic of pain management doctors, I have an appointment with my pain management doctor on television, which is nice. You don't have to go out when the weather's bad, you know. This crying. The reason is because I've had recent increased pain in my left wrist, you know, to my thumb. I think the reason is because of transfers. I use my left hand since I have left-handed to do a lot of things, and transferring from a chair into the car or onto the bed to the toilet, blah blah blah. I use my arms and my hands. And my upper body starts to do it. And my legs are pretty much useless at this point. Now, I always said if I have to have a fracture with pain, let it be. It's not my hands or my arms because I need my hands and my arms to get it. Well, what's going on now recently is pain up here, increased pain. I may have, I think it's due to transfers. I think it's change of season. We're going from spring to summer. And whenever we change the season, you know that old saying, you could feel it in your bones. I can't, literally can't feel it in my bones. So that may be contributing to the increased pain. I don't know, but that's why I called my pain management doctor. I'm going to have a visit on Friday. Let's see what happens, right? But he may order an X-ray. I might have a small fracture in there, a small stress fracture. Like I said, I don't have full-blown fractures, thank God, anymore, like when I was a kid or a teenager. Now I have these pressure stress fractures. And so what I'm doing in the meantime, and this is got this from another one of my great doctors, my medical genetics doctor, is starting using this cream. I don't endorse this anyway. This is what I've been using for the last couple of days. Voltaren. And this is topical. So you just put it on the wrist there or whatever the affected area is. And hopefully it helps. There's all kinds of pain topical stuff out there. Icy hot for pain patches and different things, you know. So I'm using that now, and it takes a few days until you could see whether it works. So so far, the results are. So we'll see. But that's what we're going to talk about. For maybe changing the medicine. I would hate to put a cast on this because, again, I use my hands to transfer and to wheel my wheelchair, push my wheelchair, and to get around. So maybe a splint. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's pick again. Let's pick from. Oh, yes. Pace yourself, accept limitations. Yes. Well, one of the things they recommend to cope with pain is diversion. Try to keep your mind off of it. Try to do other things. Think about something else. Don't talk about your pain because mentally, it is true. Mentally, um, pain is, I believe, especially the physical thing as it is a mental thing. Of course, your pain, if you think about it, is coming from your brain. The sensors are going down to the affected area, let's say to the wrist there. And your brain is telling you, it's telling you wrist, it hurts, it hurts. So is there a way that you can stop that signal from going to your brain to your wrist? Hmm. All kinds of stuff out there now, all kinds of studies with the brain and pain, um, all kinds of therapies. And I think we're on the precipice of dealing with pain and more. As we learn more about the brain and explore more, and our technology gets greater and greater, maybe down the road, we're going to have a chance to, I don't know, would it be nice to have an off and on switch there in your brain and say, no, don't send the pain down to the wrist. That's it. Block it. I mean, maybe we could. To me, I think it's easier said than done to say, oh, read a book, do something else. Don't think about the pain. You know what? I feel you guys out there. If something hurts, it hurts. It's not that easy to use distraction. Although now I'm talking to you guys and I'm in pain, and it's not as bad. So I guess it can work. So for me, what relaxes me, and that's the key word is relax, is listening to music. And that's always worked with me since I was a little kid. Put a little music on, it helps you relax. Because let's face it, when you're in pain, you get anxious. It's why make it worse? I know it hurts. But you're gonna that away, the breathing's gonna get shallow. Is that any good for you? Try to lower your blood pressure, try to cool down a little bit. Take deep breaths, slow deep breaths. Chill out. That might help. I don't know if you guys are the same way or not, but when I'm in pain, sometimes at night, of course, it's tough to sleep sometimes. And it helps if you have take a sleeping pill, Z-Quil or whatever, right? Help you sleep. But otherwise, it is tough. I think that the reason is because there's nothing going on to keep you occupied. During the day, it is true. You're talking on the phone, somebody's at the door, right? There's a TV show on you can watch, blah, 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 blah. There's stuff going on, stuff happening. At night, you're pretty much everything you zoned out, right? There's nothing going on. So there's a tendency to want to focus on pain. I mean, plus, if you're laying in bed, sitting in a chair, you're not moving around. So it's a tendency to become stiff, and it may take a while to move those ligaments, move those joints. I know it's tough to do when you're in pain, and sometimes it's beneficial who wants to sit in a chair and lay in bed, and you get stiff. You know how you feel, so stiff. Just get out of bed or get out of the car or something. You know. So in that way, I agree. It's good. What they call it gentle exercises. Gentle exercise. So if you need to, if you're gardening or use your hands like I do to keep them limber, right? Arthritis, no, you're doing the techniques, you're taking the anti-inflammatory drugs to the pain. It may not totally erase the pain. The arthritis is always going to be there, but while you're alone, right? That's what we all. There's no reason at all to be in pain. As I said, there are people out there like Canadians with doctors you could turn to. There's no reason why you should be in pain and not get some help. You know? So you can try gentle exercises, right? And if you can't move around, do gardening. Never else, walking. Um, there are exercises, but there are things to keep you occupied, the versional things like photography, like doing jigsaw puzzles, right? Stuff to use your mind. That hopefully focus on the jigsaw puzzle. It takes your mind off the pain and you feel a little bit better. So, yep, here I've got to stand. Breathe deeply. Yeah, and then what that does is, you take control of the situation. You take control over the pain. You're the boss. You're the boss of your brain. And you gotta say, you know what? I'm not going to get panicky. I'm not going to get anxious about this pain. I know what it is, and I'm going to deal with it. Okay? You are in charge. And I think when you control your own breathing, nice, easy, you're in charge. You're the boss. That old TV show, Tony Danza, I like to believe. You're the boss. Okay? You're the boss of your own brain, your body. So I knew. In a way, think about it. It's not crazy. Sometimes pain is a good thing. Why? Because, well, think about it. How many times have we or somebody that we've known has had some sort of pain and it leads to other things? Pain could be a warning, right? You have a pain in your side and maybe your appendix acting. Kidney stones. I've had kidney stones. Now, here's the thing with pain and kidney stones. I've had many fractured bones in my life, but I tell you what, kidney stones, passing a kidney stone, right up there. I had a friend who was a nurse in emergency room, and she would tell stories about kidney stones. You get it. Big guy coming in, 6'6", 250 pounds, will be rolling around the emergency room floor like a baby, crying because of a little tiny kidney stone. And I just passed one about 3 months ago, maybe. I mean, that's right, depending on the size. And but I tell you what, those little suckers can really do a lot of damage on the way from the kidney to bladder, to urethra, bladder, damage. So, there's nothing to forward, you know. For someone with a history of kidney stones, kidney problems should have a urologist who work with and check on those kidney stones so they don't get out of hand. So that's what I was going to say. Kidney stones are right up there as far as really painful stuff. Um, but as I said, you want to keep in control of stuff. So you want to tell yourself that, to breathe deeply and to try to relax. I know it's tough to do when you're in constant pain. I know, because I've been there before. But as I said, it sometimes pain can be a little warning that, hey, I better get this checked out, and listen to your body, listen to that pain. I hate wagging the finger. But really do, because your body is speaking to you. Always listen to your body. It's trying to tell you something. And a lot of times we get in trouble because we don't listen to our body. And pain is one of the things that's your body is communicating to you. So just listen to your body and follow up. And don't be afraid, especially guys. I know this. Like, you don't want to go to the doctor. You want to make up for now. I'll be all right. Ladies out there, girlfriends, wives, moms, sisters, bug your loved one. You better go to the doctor. You better get that checked out. How many times have we heard of people who have had chest pain? They don't get it checked out and they end up having a heart attack. I've known people in my life who that's happened to. So you're doing your loved one a favor by bugging them. They may not feel that way when you're nagging them. Go to the doctor. I'll make the appointment for you. Here's the phone. Here's the phone number. Do it. But better than having a heart attack, right? One of the things, when I'm at night, like we said, you're focusing on, you have more time to focus on pain, and you have less activity going on at night. And I've tried to keep a regular sleep pattern. It's not easy to do, but go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. I just find that works well for me. Keep on a consistent pattern, and I think it helps you to relax, helps your sleep pattern. Because let's face it, when you don't get enough sleep, you're grumpy, you're not yourself. You feel awful, you feel even more anxious. And if you're in pain, the pain escalates, right? So it's important to try to get your sleep. I mean, some other things that I use for pain that have worked for me are like heating pads. Like if I have a backache, I've had a lot of problems with back over the years. I've had fractures in my back and still aches. I could have broke my back when I was 6 years old. Here I am 60 years later, and there's times it still aches. So I put a heating pad. That works for me. That works for me. I put heating pad on for maybe 20 minutes at night, and it does help. Now, for some people, you put an ice pad, right? Takes the swelling. Depends on what kind of pain you have, too. Again, listen to your doctor. Listen to your doctor. Massages may help. That's the thing about um, talking to a pain management doctor, maybe getting involved in a support group. If you have chronic pain, you may want to think about seeking out a support group because it's easier to talk to somebody. Not only do they understand, can relate, and you can relate to them, but you may find some ideas. You may be able to trade secrets how to cope with the pain. You know? And I know you're saying, okay, I talk to my daughter on the phone. I tell her bad things. She listens. And that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if you get involved in a support group with people who can relate to what you're going through and can give you ideas back, as well as you're helping each other. You're helping them, they're helping you, right? That's what support groups are for. So don't hesitate. Again, your doctor can find a support group. You call your local hospital. They may have a support group for pain, private pain, sufferers. Call your local handy social worker. And they can hook you. I talked about limitations. And you don't have to accept the pain. Okay, I'm not saying that. And I agree with the fact that you want to keep active, do gentle exercises. The more you sit around and don't move, the worse it's going to be. So, depending on your pain. So, what I'm trying to say is you have to know your limitations. That's where I get in trouble. I do stuff I'm not supposed to do. And I know that. I'm not supposed to lift up that window to get more air in my room. And that aggravates a joint or negative something here. I know better. I have brittle bones. But I do it anyway. I reach down on the floor instead of getting my handy dandy reacher and grabbing for that gum wrap on the floor or that tissue. Now, sometimes you automatically do it, reflexively. Oh, I'll get that. Oh, I'll turn it to it. I think it's just about slowing down and taking it easy. Where's the fun, right? And think, am I going to do more harm than good if I open this window? I could ask somebody to help me with it. Don't be afraid to ask for help, especially if you're a chronic pain sufferer. That's what people around have to help you, right? Don't be afraid. Ask for help. It's better than you trying to lift up that windowsill. It aggravates. Either aggravating the pain you already have or starting a new pain. So my point is, know your limitations. Know your limitations. Know what you can do. Know what you can't do. But you don't want to make things worse. So it's important to know what your limitations are and stick to it. Stick to it. Yeah, we're coming to. We talked about general exercise. We talked about support groups. Why is this interesting? Pain tolerance. Why is it that some people have a higher pain tolerance than other people do? Isn't that something? You could say, Harry, my cousin, went to the dentist the other day. He sits in the dentist chair. He doesn't even need Novocaine. He just throw it away. So I don't know. It's true. And some other people can just break a hand, although, Isn't it amazing? Just like a tiny kidney stone, broken down, like that. You know what's worse too? A paper cut. Did you ever have a paper cut? Oh, yeah, right. That's when I could, like a switch on the side of the head there, turn the pain receptor off, shut the signal off. Anyway, they're doing a lot more information on pain tolerance, a lot more research. And they're figuring out that pain tolerance may be genetics. I mean, you may be born a person who is able to tolerate more pain than your next door neighbor. And they do different treatments, different methods to see how much pain you can tolerate. Here's the whole I was reading the ice bucket, not challenge. Somebody dumps ice in. Put your hand in ice bucket, see how long you look out before it starts hurting. They measure that to see how much pain tolerance you have. And I just think it's very interesting living with pain as I do, with how long I've lived with pain, that some people are more tolerant than others. Me, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm pretty tolerant with pain. Do you ever get used to it? Nah, you don't get used to it. I mean, every time I break a bone, or every time I have a stress fracture or arthritis, it hurts, right? It's just because you're older, or just because you've had a lot of pain in your life, doesn't mean you get used to it. That's not true. Uh, One thing I think in my life, through all the years of breaking bones and um, different pain I've had in me, from pulled muscles to whatever, everything is a byproduct of my osteogenesis imperfecta. It all comes down to that. So I can't say I've gotten used to the pain. I write about this in my book. Yeah, it's just with me. I had so many broken bones. It was just like kind of a nonchalant kind of thing, like it's another broken bone. I know what to expect, right? Yeah. Maybe without looking into my genetic background, maybe I do have a little higher tolerance of pain than some other people. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care to find out. But it's possible. I mean, it's possible, But it is an interesting thing. And as I said, there's so much, as far as pain is concerned, so many changes, so much research going on, so much research into the brain, so much research into pain tolerance. But things are going to get better. I want to get better medicine or better techniques to help you, to help you cope with the pain, to improve your quality. Pain killers, we haven't talked about that yet. If you need them, take them, right? Whatever again, doctor, listen to your doctor. The last time I had full-blown fracture back in 2004. So we're talking 19 years ago. So I've been very lucky for a guy with brittle bones at the advanced stage of OI that I have. I'm lucky. I'm lucky that in 19 years I haven't had a full-blown fracture like I had almost every other month as a kid. So this period of my life right now is probably the fracture-free, most fracture-free period of my life I've ever had in my life. So I'm blessed. You know, as long as I don't do anything crazy. Yeah, try to open up the window. Something I can't do. Um, but back in 2004, I took a spill, took a fall, and I don't know, wheelchair. I write about this in my book too. I fractured the strongest bone in your body is your thigh. It's the strongest bone in your body. Well, combination of my osteogenesis imperfecta, the way I fell, I guess, whatever. It was a nasty fall, and I ended up cracking my right thigh bone in half, cleaning. Um, and that had to be surgically fixed. It's one of the few times in my life that one of my fractures led to surgery. And most of the time, they would just cast the fracture for 6 to 8 weeks, and then you'd start over, right? This time I wasn't so lucky because it was big, the strongest bone. The fracture was devastating. I had to have surgery, which leads up to the fact that afterwards, during the rehab period, I was on a lot of painkillers. I needed. I mean, I was taking Tylenol, codeine. I had these pain patches on the arm there, and I had 2 or 3 different kind of painkillers just to keep me at pain, until the healing process began. Well, eventually, I got less and less pain. I didn't like to take them in. I don't like to take them in. Reason is because, number one, painkillers are very easy to become addicted to. After all the years I had fractures, I don't think I've ever been addicted to painkillers. My doctors and my family, my mom, were very cognizant of that. So as much as I would try for painkillers, but that's, you've got 4 hours to pick, right? We need to work with the pain in ways. And that was it. I thank God I was never addicted to painkillers. But people are. It's easy to be addicted. If you are, someone who is, I understand, I can relate. Because it's really, really easy. Really easy. It's really hard to come off of it. After that big fracture in 2004, weaning off of those painkillers was one of the toughest things I ever went through. I remember many nights of getting the chills, and just sweating, and because you're coming off of those painkillers, and they wean you down from like 100 to 50 to 25. That's the proper way to do it. Don't stop taking painkiller unless your doctor advises you. Your doctor, again, an advantage of having a pain management doctor is he or she knows what those medications can do, and they can titrate them down. So you don't go through the withdrawal. So, but despite the fact that my doctor at the time did the right thing and titrated it down, I was still going through some withdrawal. I'm still. Some things can't happen. But my thing is, if you need the painkillers, you gotta take. Well, addiction is one thing. The other thing, why I don't like to take them is because the side effects, especially constipation. I mean, who wants me nuts? Come on. There's more fun things than going around being constipated. So, um, any kind of painkiller, there are side effects. You have to be aware. So it's sort of a trade-off. Okay. I remember when I had the all the painkillers after I broke my upper thigh bone there. It was sort of a balancing act. I needed the painkillers for a few weeks until my leg started healing again, until I started feeling better. But I had what constipation. So here I'm taking painkillers every 4 hours or whatever. And on the other end, I'm taking the stool softeners too. So you can't not go to the bathroom for 4 weeks. And when you gotta go, you gotta go, right? Um, so I'm taking the painkillers, and I'm taking the stool softeners. Then I'm like, oh my God. So it's tough. It's not easy. If that's what you're going through, if you had a major accident, something like that going on in your life, I feel it. I can relate. I don't think it's not easy. So again, if I need to take a painkiller, take it. But it has to be closely supervised by a doctor, by someone like your pain management doctor. And you follow the rules, you follow what they're telling you. You take it as they tell you to take it, you know. But it's good that we have this other stuff you can try, to get your mind off pain. So maybe you don't have to take painkillers, you don't have to take as many painkillers as as you may have to. So it's good that they have these programs now to help you adjust and help you get through the tough time. And you can see the other side, see the light at the tunnel. Just know that there are people who care, and people are out there and helping. Doctors, nurses, therapists, social workers. Who can help you. That's what they're there for. So I hope this podcast hasn't been too much of a pain. I hope you learned some things, as I learn things all the time. And I'll leave you with this joke. You ever hear that old joke? It's an old, just a thing. Eddie Young Man, Rodney Dangerfield, go to the doctor, saying, "Doctor, it hurts when I do this." Doctor says, "Well, don't do that." But I would never, ever make a good stand-up comedian. First of all, I can't state. Is there such a thing as a sit-down comedian? Well, maybe I'll have a chance. I don't think so. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped. And it's helped me just talking about it. As I said, don't be afraid to talk about it. If you need a friend, you need someone to talk to, support group, or doctor, or email me. My email is GAP, like the Gap, Smith, S-M-I-T-H, sounds like a phony name to me, but it's my name, GapSmith1 at Verizon.net. Send me an email. You need someone to talk to about pain, someone who is willing to listen or read, as in this case. That's what's important. You got to find someone who really cares, who is willing to listen, no matter what, even if we're not talking about pain. Yeah, it's important. If you have someone in your life, a friend, a relative, who you can trust and who will listen to you, man, that's one of the best things in the world. All right, I'll see you next time, and remember, don't do this. You guys take care, and I hope you're feeling well. And I hope if you are in pain, you feel better.